Mel Gibson, the famous actor and director, known for his deep Catholic faith in movies like The Passion of the Christ, was recently a guest on the popular American podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. During the interview, which lasted over 2 hours, Gibson talked about many topics, but it was his analysis of Pope Francis's time as Pope that got everyone's attention. He was respectful, but also critical. Gibson shared serious concerns about the direction of the Catholic Church under Pope Francis' leadership. He talked about events and decisions that he believes are putting the Catholic traditions and identity at risk. This isn't the first time Gibson has bravely stood up for traditional Catholic values. In the past, he has shown his support for Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, the former Vatican representative to the United States, who is known for criticizing the Pope and the Vatican. In a letter that caused a lot of discussion, Gibson called Vigano the Athanasius of our times, comparing him to a famous bishop from the 4th century who strongly opposed what he saw as wrong teachings. This comparison highlights Gibson's admiration for Vigano's courage and conviction in standing up against what he perceives as corruption within the Church. Gibson has also never hesitated to disagree with what he calls a false post-conciliar church. He made a strong statement saying, "That's why I built a Catholic church where we only practice the traditional way. You're welcome to come and celebrate Mass with us any time." With this statement, he showed his dedication to traditional ways and criticized the changes he sees in the modern church. Gibson's commitment to tradition is evident in his actions and words, reflecting his deep-rooted beliefs. But it's Gibson's thoughts on Pope Francis that are the most powerful. Talking about Vigano being told he could no longer be part of the Church, Gibson said, "Being called a schismatic and excommunicated by Jorge Bergoglio, Pope Francis, is like a badge of honor, considering he's a total apostate and his institution is false." With these words, Gibson isn't just questioning the Pope's authority, he's saying the Pope has abandoned the true teachings of the Church. This strong stance is exactly what he talked about on Joe Rogan's podcast. Gibson went into detail about his disagreements with Pope Francis and the direction of the modern Church. Gibson's critique extends beyond just the Pope. He believes the entire institution has strayed from its original path, sparking widespread debate among Catholics. One of the most controversial topics they discussed was the Pachamama scandal, which Gibson sees as one of the most serious mistakes of Pope Francis's leadership. In his direct way, Mel Gibson brought up the events of 2019 when a statue of Pachamama, a goddess worshipped by some people in South America, was brought to the Vatican gardens during a meeting about the Amazon rainforest. This caused a huge debate among Catholics, and Gibson directly called it a betrayal of the Catholic faith. He emphasized that such actions undermine the core beliefs of the Church. Joe Rogan, known for his direct and curious style, was clearly surprised by what Gibson was saying. Their conversation was intense and eye-opening. Rogan: "Really? The Pope let a pagan idol into the Vatican?" Gibson: "Yes, it happened. A South American idol was brought into the Church to be worshipped." Rogan: "What exactly is Pachamama? I've never even heard of it." Gibson: "It's a pagan goddess of fertility. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It goes against our faith. This is a serious issue for many believers." They also talked about how some people believe Pope Francis is saying all religions are the same. Gibson directly quoted statements said to be from Pope Francis, like, "All religions are equally valid." To Gibson, this goes against the traditional teachings of the Church. Their conversation about this got pretty heated, showing just how controversial this is. How can a pope lead the Catholic Church and say all religions are equal? It's unthinkable. Did the Pope really say something like that? How can anyone justify such a stance? Yes. And that's the problem. Saying all religions are the same denies the uniqueness and truth of the Catholic faith. The Church isn't just a philosophy, it's the guardian of the truth revealed by Christ. Rogan, surprised, pressed Gibson for more explanation. But what's the logic behind such a statement? Why would a pope do such a thing? It's a very valid question. In my opinion, it's a political strategy. He's trying to please the world and show an inclusive church open to everyone. But at what cost? When you compromise your identity for approval, you risk losing your very essence. Gibson then connected this idea of all religions being the same to things like the Pachamama scandal. He said these actions risk taking the church away from its divine purpose. It becomes just another human institution, losing the spiritual power that has made it special for 2,000 years. The conversation with Rogan gave a platform to the criticisms some traditional Catholics have about Pope Francis. This debate is far from over, and it continues to stir strong emotions among the faithful. Gibson also made an announcement his fans have been waiting for. The sequel to his famous 2004 movie, The Passion of the Christ, is finally happening. The new movie, called The Resurrection of the Christ, will focus on what happened after Jesus' crucifixion, exploring his resurrection and the huge impact it had on his disciples and the world. Gibson shared some exciting details, saying this movie won't just be a continuation of the first one. It's going to be deeper and more complex. The resurrection isn't just a historical event, Gibson said. It's a mystery at the heart of the Christian faith. We want to take viewers on a journey that explores not just what happened physically, but also its spiritual and existential meaning. Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus in the first movie, will be back, and Gibson said the cast and crew are working hard to make an epic movie that stays true to the gospel and looks amazing. Gibson said filming should start in 2026, which means the project is already in the works. He emphasized how important this movie is, especially now when he believes Christian values are being pushed aside. Telling this story today isn't just an act of faith, it's a cultural statement, he said. The resurrection is at the core of Christianity, and Gibson believes the world needs to rediscover its deep meaning. Fans and believers are excited. Many see this sequel as a chance to refocus on the spiritual foundation of the Christian faith. For Gibson, this isn't just about making a movie, it's about fulfilling a mission. What did you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless.